welcome back to Psychology of Peace Building. I'm going to start off right where I left off in my last lecture and talk about attribution error and self-serving bias. We tend to, self-serving bias is quite literal, we tend to see ourselves in more favorable, positive light than other people see us, right? We pat ourselves on the back. That's what the majority of human beings who have been researched show. Now, this has been research in the United States, so I'm not saying it applies to all cultures around the world. I'm sure it does not. But those of us who identify as Americans, we tend to flatter ourselves. And the other thing we do, which really creates conflict, is, those of you who are psychology majors will study this in much more depth, but I'm going to introduce attribution error very quickly to all of you. We tend to be the opposite with other people. We give ourselves a break and we condemn others. We're very hard on other people. So we're quick to judge, criticize, blame other people. And attribution error explains this. I'm tired, it's hot, I've had a bad day, so I excuse myself from any conflict behavior. So I'm a little sharp with my husband. So I'm a little impatient and irritated. I've had a bad day, right? But with others, we don't let them off the hook. We say, you as a person are responsible for all of this. It's not that you've had a bad day or you don't understand where I'm coming from. You wanted to hurt me, you wanted to whatever. So I think you get the point. That's what we do. And it certainly creates conflict because we don't see ourselves honestly, clearly, and we're seeing others through harsh, unfair lenses. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is social learning. Educational psychology, actually, there's probably a lot of branches of psychology that introduce social learning. We learn by following the examples of our parents, our teachers, our brothers and sisters, the people around us, right? And cultural spillover describes how we, absorb the cultures. Now, I'm going to say cultures because I grew up with at least 3 different cultures, probably 4. We absorb all of this. And much of what we do in life can be explained by cultural spillover. So, I grew up with a raging father, a very talented athlete, very gifted athlete, and very bright man, but he believed that he didn't believe it was okay, to lose his temper and terrorize his family. No, truly, my father feels terrible about that. But he grew up with examples of that's what men did. They were in charge of the family. They needed to do whatever they needed to do. And they certainly didn't take care of themselves. You heard my introducing stress research. They took responsibility for everyone. And that's a disaster if you want to manage your temper and anger. So cultural spillover is explaining how our culture has taught us, given us the social learning that explains much of what we do. Okay, those are the only theories I wanted to introduce. So take care. Have a good week.